live day to day. What do you mean plan? You know the quote. Do you want to make God laugh? Tell him your plans. Babe, what do you mean plan? What do you mean plan? You can have intentions. My intention is to travel. My intention is to save up to buy a house. Intentions are beautiful. But intention without planning is actually your elixir for liquid gold. You know why? Because you have the intention and the unwavering faith and yaqeen that it will happen because you know God is the best of planners. So the intention without planning is actually the best thing you could do because it's good intention. It's good intention. And then you pay good attention to God. You know what I mean? Then the rest falls into place. But to plan and be anxious, and then my intention is turned to sour mold because I think I'm a better planner than God. The Lulu is the Salulu.
Everyone, welcome to another episode of Relate to You. Today we are going to be dismantling the meme. And as you guys have already seen, we have an interesting video. I think that both Lula and I, when we saw this video, we were like, are we on opposite sides of this? Mm-hmm. Do we agree? Where do we fall on this? And so there's a lot of questions. So first and foremost, before we get into dismantling the meme or the reel, are you a planner?
I am not. I am not a planner. I wouldn't say that I'm also like, oh, whatever comes, a spontaneous kind of girl. I can flow with the spontaneous, but I'm not a planner in the sense of like I don't think I plan things out, but I do have things in my head of like, okay, today I'm going to do this. Today I'm going to get to this. Today I'm going to get to that. So every day I wake up with chores in my head, things I have to get done.
Would you, because see, for me, as you said that, I would consider that a planner. I would actually argue that most people who do their day-to-day responsibilities are planners, are closeted planners, but I think a lot of people think planning or planners is a negative thing. And obviously, y'all know I'm going to get to where I stand. But for example, knowing you personally, I know how excited you were about your planner. So yes. I would say for someone who wouldn't identify as being a planner, why would you be excited for a planner?
I think I like the fact that I can write in stuff that I've done or stuff that I will do, like events, birthdays. Anticipating, yeah. But, there's some truth in that. I've always thought of planners as people that follow through. Okay. It's not just the planning process, but people that follow through. And yes, I might wake up every morning with, okay, this is what I'm going to do. But sometimes I don't follow through. Sometimes it's like, sometimes that's where the spontaneous comes in, where I'm like, okay, that turned out not to be an urgency. I'm going to leave it to tomorrow.
Okay.
So
that's building my argument. That's actually really good. Okay.
And so or I do follow through, but then it turns out that in a different way, not how I had anticipated, or how I envisioned. And a lot of the times, if I'm honest, especially all this month of October, I haven't done a lot of planning. I've done a lot of like urgency. Whatever's urgent, I get to that. And then whatever I do on a regular, I put it to the side for a little bit.
Job aside, because I feel like sometimes our careers or our jobs require us to be organized, require us to
that is true.
Maintain a calendar, sometimes whether we like it or not. Mm-hmm. How does your social life look in terms of planning? Are you the kind of person that has a set schedule weekly? Are you the kind of person that when plans change, it affects you? How do you feel about that?
Again, I think that's probably why I don't think I'm a planner. I think I'm a planner now in the sense of like we have to plan or schedule our dates because we're both just so busy.
Right.
So in that sense, and lo mismo con otras amigas. But for example, like, I go out with the girls or whatever, and they say, oh, let's go to the mission. Okay, yeah, let's go. Like, it doesn't affect me. Or if they say, no, let's go home. It doesn't, I flow.
You flow with it.
I flow with it. I don't mind changing plans last minute, and I don't mind.
I'm gonna change plans with her next week. A ver cómo me trata, guys.
Yes. I mean, within time,
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't mind. I don't mind. It's fine. Um, and then I think during work aside, I have to sort of plan things out around my second job. But usually, like if we're sitting there and Kelly says, "Let's go to the beach," yeah, let's go.
What about planning your life? How do you
Oh,
feel about life plans? Because again, and
I don't have
I'm
any.
I'm poking because I again think that people who think planning is a negative thing, I don't understand because I feel like planning is in everything. From, you know, your job to what you do to sometimes your social life. And there's an extreme to both things. We're not talking
Right.
about heavily lazy individuals who don't have any motivation in life and are somehow romanticizing how spontaneous they are.
Yeah.
And I'm also not talking about rigid, inflexible planners that it has to be this way, my way, or the highway. Otherwise, my life crumbles. I'm talking about the general public who finds themselves in the center. I would argue that the majority of us are planners. But when it comes to life, would you say that you are at peace if things don't happen the way you want them to? In terms of marriage,
But
in
I think
terms
that's
of
different. I
children.
don't think that's planning.
But that is having some sense.
That
Because a
is a
lot of people,
desire.
it could be a desire, but I do think that some people that are like, well, pase lo que pase. I really don't care. I think that, okay. But I do think that people, regardless of whether it's in your control or not, we plan for, I plan to get married. I plan to have children. Because otherwise, it wouldn't be in our headspace at all.
Oh, I see what you say. Well, then, yeah, in that sense, yes, I guess I do have a plan.
Planning.
Uh-huh.
I think for me, I definitely am a planner.
Yeah.
And I think for me, I can, like, there's a point that she says, but planning and being anxious. I think that's where I disagree because I think that a lot of people plan and they can manage to not be anxious. I think that I have struggled with anxiety and a lot of that comes from a lot of different things, but I don't think it comes from, oh, I planned for me to hang out with Lula this weekend so that we could record. I think for me, I'm actually very flexible. Like, oh, we didn't get to do this? That's good. Or we didn't get to go to the party or whatever? Great. You know, I'm an extrovert, but I'm also an introvert in a lot of things. Like, yeah, I don't want to see people. I'm good. Like, I'm fine with that. In terms of like my job, you know, I do plan for moving up. This year, I had an opportunity to move up higher than I should have, and I chose a lower tier or whatever, and pretty much the whole year I was planning for
That is true, yeah.
for a higher position, and when it came to it, and I weighed everything, I said, no, that's not what I want. I want peace. I want to be joyful in my job. I don't think I'm ready for a higher responsibility.
Right.
So I do think that I plan for things. Same thing with like trips. I'm big on trips. You know this. I will plan the places that we're going to go, the places we should eat, the itinerary. And to me, plans they organize my thoughts and everything so that when I face the situation, I know what to do. It's not so much, and it happened. We went to Europe about a couple years ago. And my husband to this day is like, we would have never seen this island had it not been for your research. We would have never done that something had it not been for you doing this. We would show up to places, and I'm always open to things could go in a different direction.
To some
The
change.
group of people might say, I don't want to go there. That's totally fine. But at least we know we have the option. This is how much it would have cost had we gone in this direction. And a lot of experiences that I've been able to do or have, it's because of research. And that's why for me, I feel like when things don't go my way, in a weird way, I've already lived out the experience in my head.
So you're fine when they don't go.
So I'm fine if they don't work out.
You know what? I think right now I just had an epiphany. Maybe a lot of the people that think planning as a negative thing, me included, is because we don't want to live out the failure of that planning.
Oh.
And for you, because you live it out already in your head.
I already saw what going to that water park would have been.
Yeah.
Because I watched 6 videos on it. Right.
So in your head, it's kind of like, well, you know, there's that option too. I'm still going to go ahead and plan.
Right.
But there's that option too. So you're already ready for that. Versus for us that don't really want to face that, we don't even get to that point. Mejor desde un principio, we're like, I'm not even going to plan. I'm just going to go with the flow, whatever floats.
Right.
And,
but I feel like, in my opinion, I've seen the people that I've seen the most like go with the flow are the most disappointed people. Because, for example, again, it's usually in travel. I went to one trip and I was like, never again. Never. I'm always going to have a plan because of this one trip. And we didn't have a plan. I wasn't going to say anything. And I realized no one had a plan. Everyone was upset. Everyone was upset. Well, we're here in this place and what are we going to do? And I thought, but this is the spontaneous group. This is the group that is vibing with whatever we feel. Let's go to this restaurant. Let's go to that restaurant. Oh, they don't split checks. Oh, you have to reserve 3 months in advance. I remember we went to a Michelin restaurant and it's like, you were supposed to reserve 3 months in advance. And, you know, and I realized and I saw the frustration. I saw the fights. I saw the everything. And I thought, but you guys are the most chill group.
Yeah, you're right. That is true. I can see that. Like when you don't have a plan and you're just with like whatever comes and we'll do that, you run the risk of not happening.
But also
more so than if you were to had you plan.
I feel true spontaneous people are individuals that are truly happy if nothing happens or something happens. That means, let's say you and I go to Santa Barbara. We don't have a plan. Did you want to eat here? Not really. Okay. Oh, let's go to the store. Okay. Do you want to go home already? Yeah. That someone is truly satisfied with that day, I can be like, oh yeah, they're spontaneous. They really don't care. But most people are like, dude, we drove all the way over here for like Ross? You just wanted to see Ross in Santa Barbara? Like we have Ross in wherever.
Yeah.
Like that's why I feel like sometimes I'm like, why are planners look the way that they are?
Fíjate que I think I'm like that. I think
You're okay with
I'm okay
whatever
with
happens.
whatever. However, here's a caveat. I think that I can be that if you at least give me something of what was promised.
Okay.
And I think we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
For example, when we go to Mexico, and I have a vision of, and I always go back to food, and I have a vision of what I'm going to get.
That's right. You have said this.
And we never get to that, I will be upset.
Right.
You know, so, and then, for example, let's say we go to a place where I know esquites are the best, and I never have one. That riles me up. Y sí,
because food is your thing. Yeah.
Y sí es cierto. After that, nothing that we do appeases me, a veces. I'm like a little kid sometimes. Entonces, podemos estar en una great shop, pero porque no, I wasn't given a little bit of what was promised, it's kind of like that mindset of like, ¿y para eso venimos?
Right.
I thought we came here for an esquite, y now we're leaving with that one, o lo que tú quieras, you know? So, vamos a decir, vamos a Santa Bárbara, y el plan allá es ir a un super cute restaurant, whatever. A mí, Santa Bárbara would be the place.
Right.
A mí me encanta Santa Bárbara. So, if we go there, and once we're there, you're like, you know what, that restaurant, I kind of like, I don't know, we don't, you know, the vibe or whatever, and we move to another place, it's okay. We can walk into one and walk out another, y así no la podemos llevar. Pero como me gusta Santa Bárbara, and you already gave me that Santa Bárbara, I'm good, I'm chill. But let's say we say today, we're gonna go to Santa Bárbara, and then tomorrow morning, you know what, it's too far, blah, 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 let's go to another place. Then I feel like I'll be like, because ya me había hecho la idea de Santa Bárbara.
Right.
But it's one of those things where I do think, so maybe I'm not truly spontaneous, porque I still need some sort of the plan, some basis of the plan.
And I don't think I'm a rigid planner.
No.
I think I can be open to change and things moving a certain way. I think I just love to plan because I like playing scenarios. And I like, oh, this is what would happen.
Is that imagination?
Is it imagination of like, oh, this is how it would happen if we went here? And I know a lot of people are like, but doesn't that ruin a little bit of the magic in experiencing the moment? Not for me. For me personally, when like, for example, if I watch and I have done it, 40-minute video on Japan. Yeah, I've done it. I've done it, guys.
Same.
And I've seen the famous places and stuff like that. I might never see Japan.
Yeah.
It's a possibility. But I saw it through my screen. And I know people that are like, no, don't watch anything. Not until we get there.
Oh, I see.
And it's like, but why? Like, I could die tomorrow. And like, who knows?
Had no clue.
And had no clue.
Yeah.
So that's part of it. But also, I think that it just gives me information. And like you, I also like seeing my calendar. I'm like, oh, I did this. I lived that. And it's not always filled with amazing adventures. Sometimes it's like, I hung out with Lula this weekend and we just watched a film.
Yeah.
Like, but that to me, it's like I lived.
Yeah.
I lived that day. So, after listening to her explanation, I understand her intention as to what she's getting at, which is we shouldn't remove God out of the equation.
Yes.
I don't think it's the end of the world if someone is disappointed about plans. I don't think so. I think how you respond to that disappointment is the key.
Yeah.
Are you throwing a tantrum at age 40? Are you behaving like a child because we didn't go to the restaurant that you wanted for your birthday?
Yeah.
Are you, that those are things. And I admit I don't always respond the best way that I should. I think that's a normal thing. I think sometimes we're better at responding to disappointment than not. But I think that there's a difference between, okay, this time I was disappointed because we didn't go to Santa Barbara and you wanted to go to Ojai or whatever. Versus, dude, every time?
Yeah, that is true.
Every time that there's those people that they plan and they plan and they plan and they can't find an ounce of gratitude in anything that they do. That's another thing about that why I think planning is not so bad, but it depends on your responses. If we go somewhere and it does not match my expectations, I take that as information. Oh, okay, this place wasn't that great. Now I know. We won't come back. Oh, it was too expensive for the food or whatever. Some people are like, I wasted my time. I wasted my money. I wasted my energy. I can't believe this food is disgusting. This place is whatever.
Yeah.
This touristic location is too packed. Like, people just can't find any ounce of joy. And so, yes, I do think I can kind of see what she's getting at for people who are like, they're like, tell God your plans and he'll laugh and stuff like that. Yeah, I think that for people who have unrealistic expectations.
True. Yeah. Yeah, that is true. I think que también como cuando le pones número a las cosas o un set time, which I agree. Like a lot of the self-help books talk about put a time to it. Put a time to your goal. Put a time frame to your goals and short-term goals and long-term goals, all these things. And that works for some people. I mean, for a lot of people, I think planning works, for your finances as well. Pero I also think que también hay veces que tu tiempo no es el mismo de Dios, obviamente. Entonces tú, por ejemplo, yo decía que yo a los 30 ya iba a estar casada. And, and so to have to stretch now my time, I think que también a veces people that's why they get upset.
And obsessed.
Obsessed, because it's like, I was supposed to, by this time, I should have already had this, or I should have already had that, or, look at so-and-so at my age, and they already have this and that, and this going on, and that going on. And so I do think que también a veces we have, not that they're unrealistic, per se, but I do think they're, what's the word? They're inflexible with the times.
Right.
They're inflexible with, many people, and I feel like more in our generation, I feel like we see it more in our generation where people are like, I went to college.
Right.
Like, where is the disconnect? Why am I not seeing the fruits of my, of my labor? Why am I not, like, I had a set, timing for everything I would do.
I probably have one out of like 25 individuals that I could think of right now that is actually doing a job that is for the major that
Yeah.
they graduated for. That's a plan that's failed.
Yeah.
I think the unrealistic expectation for me is sometimes how that realized expectation can make you feel. I think that, okay, me having a child is going to be the most wonderful, amazing, joyful, fulfilling thing I could do in my entire life. I think that's an unrealistic expectation.
Oh, I see.
Because when you attach so much emotion and feeling to something, and like marriage, it's beautiful, but it's not a fairy tale.
Yeah.
For a lot of our experiences, the feeling is not always what you think it's going to be.
That is true.
To me, that is the unrealistic expectation. I'm going to go to Hawaii, and it's going to be the most wonderful and tropically filled and luxurious vacation. You arrive and there's a storm. Is
Yes.
Hawaii still amazing? Yes.
Yes.
But you happen to arrive where there was a storm. So that's what I mean. I think sometimes the feeling is the problem that we attach to what that achievement is going to do.
That is true. Yeah. We put more emphasis on the end goal and not the process.
And that's why I think she talks about how these failed plans cause anxiety.
Yeah.
But I don't think that planning is what causes the anxiety.
I don't think even the failed plans, but people that are very anal about their plans of like, no, because it should have happened this way. Like it should have, I should have been here or there or whatever. And so, and I think que también, por ejemplo, like even like in an event, when you plan things and then things happen, I feel like you need to be flexible to roll with it.
Right.
But at the same time, I do see why we would need like some structure también, porque también it's an event. Yeah,
like, you should have structure.
Uh-huh. So,
but sometimes you
balance?
can't control who grabs the mic at open mic. And you're like, man, what a beautiful event. But so-and-so went up there and said what they said.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think for me also, there's a part that I kind of disagree, is that she talks a lot about intentions. And I feel like intentions are sometimes like, I don't know.
They're empty.
I think they're empty.
Yeah.
And I feel like the word of God pushes us to not be idle. There's so much scripture against being lazy, doing nothing. There's the story about the man who gave and distributed talents. Some did something with it, some doubled it, some got some percentage, and there's one that did nothing. He just buried it. He didn't plan. He did nothing. And he was obviously he was scrutinized for it. There's actually in the book of Thessalonians, I studied it a couple weeks ago. And Paul is really pushing the church of Thessalonica to work, because they were obviously learning about the coming of Christ. And some were taking it that literally, in terms of there's no point to work. There's no point to do anything.
Since he's coming.
Because he's coming soon. We're saved. We're relaxed. We're chill. And Paul's like, no, you cannot be idle. You have to do something. A purpose. Our work gives us purpose. There's that. I mean, there's a scripture that talks about a man will never build a house without planning the foundation, if he can build it or not.
Yes, if he even has the means to do it. Yeah.
Now, the word of God also tells us that above all things, the will of God is what's going to take precedent over what we do. And I think that's where the key is. But where she keeps talking about intentions, I just don't understand that.
Yeah. I think maybe it's also a cultural thing. Maybe in her culture, the word intention is is closely connected and related to action.
Okay.
For them, intention means action. But for us in the Western, because I'm assuming she's not from a Western culture, but for us in the Western, intention is just it's vapid. It's vapid.
Right.
A lot of people say, "Oh, that was not my intention," and then they still hurt someone or they still said something hurtful or whatever because they had a good intention, but they just never verbalized it correctly, or el típico. ¿A quién no le ha pasado que le dicen, "Oh, I was gonna give you something, but then I forgot."
But that's the thing. Intentions sometimes are so like not well thought out.
Yeah, true.
Because when people say, well, that wasn't my intention. Okay, the reason why it wasn't your intention is because you didn't think it that through.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like her saying, as long as you have good intentions about traveling or saving money or planning your future, I don't know I'm trying to understand what she means by that.
Yeah.
What would it look like, in your opinion, if you could create an example of what she's trying to paint for her viewers or for us to kind of, because I would just feel like that looks like I woke up today and I hope that I'm good at my job today and I hope I get a promotion, but I'm not really going to work for it.
Yeah.
That's how I see it.
Yeah, you know what? Ahorita se me vino a la mente. I think it's a dilemma that I think we've spoken about it, and I've talked about it within my young adult group, and it's this idea of where does my work end and where does God's work start, you know?
Right.
And what I'm saying by that is, you know how we have this saying of like, let God do the impossible while you work with what's within your means with the possible.
Possible.
And so I think maybe that's that's how it sounds to me. Like intention just means worry about like what you need to do and let everything else in the hands of God. But I do think that a message like that, if they fall on someone who's very complacent, they'll say things like, "Oh, bueno, pues entonces a donde Dios me lleve." A donde Dios me lleve hoy, eso voy a hacer. Y Dios puso en mi corazón ir acá. Y Dios puso en mi corazón ir allá. Y Dios me dijo que hiciera esto de comer. Y Dios and so I think que a veces, I mean, people have even said, "Oh, God gave me the wedding date." Like, dude, God, todo misericordioso te va a andar diciendo el date de tu wedding. Pero algunas personas dicen que sí. Yo no sé. Entonces, I do think that when we hear that kind of message of like intention, I don't always agree because I don't think intention is all that matters.
Right.
Porque como dices tú, I could hurt you and that not be my intention, but that doesn't mean que I'm going to wash my hands.
Right.
And be like, well, because that wasn't my intention, pues it's up to you how you take it. Yeah. No, that's not how it works. Like you said, okay, fine, I get it. It wasn't your intention to hurt me, but you did it. And that's probably because you didn't think it through, first off. And second of all, you still are responsible for what you said.
Right.
You can't walk away and just like, justify yourself with like, well, I have good intentions. And so en español, I think en inglés también, pero en español tenemos un dicho que dice, el infierno está lleno de buenas intenciones. So just kind of saying, people can have good intentions. People can be good people. But that doesn't mean they're safe either.
Right.
And so I think a message like that to people that are very complacent, to people that are not planners at all.
That are okay with not having a plan.
They're okay with that. Sí, they run with that. Oh, yeah, I'm going to leave it to God.
Let it flow.
Let it flow. I'm going to leave it to God y todo eso. And could it work? Who knows? A la mejor. But I do think, como dices tú, those are the kind of people that might be the unhappiest or not enjoy. And anxious todo el tiempo.
I just think that sometimes, at least for me, having a plan gives me purpose. It's not that it has to work out the way that I planned for, but I have a vision and I'm trying to execute that vision. From the teacher to the preacher to, a regular worker to a mom or a wife trying to cook dinner. I may not wake up and be like, you know what, today I'm going to cook this. Mm-hmm. But a la hora de cocinar, you're putting things together. You're having a plan to feed your family.
Right, yeah.
I think we
And
just
even a plan as to where to start, where to end.
right. I
Yeah.
just feel like we need to normalize
Planning.
what planning really means. Just because like I've heard it used against me in a negative way. Oh, you're type A. Oh, you're a planner. And it's like, what does that mean? Like, yes, when I got married, I had a binder and I had everything from who was going to walk down. I had an Excel spreadsheet of a budget. I had pictures of flowers and visions and stuff like that. I also got married during COVID. Did everything in my binder happen? No. We didn't even get to go to the honeymoon that we wanted. We didn't get to get the venue that we wanted. But so much good came out of it. It was actually the best wedding I could have ever wanted because deep down I didn't want to invite that many people.
COVID did you a favor.
COVID did me a favor. We ended up getting our house. So I feel like so many times I've proven I am okay with plans changing, but the simple fact that what did I send Lula the other day? That I was like, don't judge me. Like, yes,
You're eating your new meals.
yes.
Yes.
So I was creating a like Canva lookbook,
Yeah,
which this week has been
yes.
terrible. But basically, I was doing images of like what I've been eating and things like that for me. It's not like you need to do this or
Yeah.
you need to copy this. It's just like it excites me to figure out what I'm going to eat and do research and put it together and blah, blah, blah. Or for example, I'm thinking of changing my style. And so what do? I go on Pinterest and I look for inspo. And then I go to like the places that I'm shopping and I create little boards of what I'm trying to do. Am I going to look like that? Probably not. Am I going to get everything that I have saved on my cart? Probably not. But I feel like I vicariously lived through all those outfits.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I feel like I could have rocked that.
Yeah.
And that's enough for me, you know? So I don't know. I just feel like
I think you're right. I think I've said this before. I've admitted it before. When I first met you, when I saw
She was
that,
like, ugh.
I was taken aback. I was like, oh, and I do think if I didn't say it, which I highly doubt that I didn't say it, more than likely I did. I want to say that with my face, I said it a lot too, of like, oh, you're one of those, you know. But I think that, but it's so funny because Kelly is a planner. Kelly loves to like research, and she loves to. She can wake up and say, "This is what I'm gonna do today," but at the same time, with her, I don't think she's as flexible as you are. So because I've had her, and then I came to work and I had you, my only reference was her. So it was kind of like, oh, so you're gonna be Kelly at work.
which is interesting that you say that because I have 3 overly spontaneous sisters. Overly, just go with the flow.
Just go with the flow.
I am the planner in the family, and I'm so used to like, you know.
Well, maybe that's why you get your flexibility.
I get the
from.
both. Yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
You're like, I know my family. My family is my family. In a way, I think this is where Kelly is still kind of working through. She needs to know. She needs to be okay with us going with the flow or not going with the flow.
Right.
You know, and I think because she gets excited, because she invests the time planning and researching and todo eso, that's for her is like, no,
I want to see it through.
I want to see it through. Like we were supposed to go here, we were supposed to go there, and I think for her, it happens more when we go to a new place than when we go to the regular place where we always
Right.
go. But when we go visit a new place, for her, it's like we have to go with the plan because then we get there and we're like, well, what do we do? Restaurants are closed. Like you said, we needed a reservation. You know, some places aren't open. And we ended up going during rainy season. So now we don't know where to go. So a lot of those things, yes, those are very good qualities to have. Porque, como dices tú, para no estar infeliz en un lugar. Pero I guess we always go back to balance.
Yeah.
Be flexible, plan, because like you said, we plan in every day, and the sooner we acknowledge the planning isn't bad, and the planning shouldn't be this, person of like inflexible and very rigid and, obsessed over the planning. As long as we can redefine what planning is, because I think planning is akin to organization, being organized, being
Right.
clean, being what are these,
Did you say achant?
discipline.
Achant?
Akin.
I need to look that word up because I don't know what it means. You and I will look it up.
Is I might be mispronouncing it. You know how I mispronounce stuff.
Oh, I was just like, it's like, because I feel like what you were trying to say was it's contingent upon.
No, akin, similar.
Okay.
So
Sorry, guys. I need a vocabulary lesson.
yeah, akin of similar nature or
Akin.
character.
It's akin.
Akin. Ah, okay.
Akin.
Yeah.
I was
See?
like,
I knew I was probably saying it wrong.
I was like, what is it? Oh, akin. I like that word. I was understanding what you were trying to say, but I was like, I've never heard that. I'm gonna use that. I tend to steal words from Lula in my job.
Okay, but first, make sure you pronounce it right.
Akin.
Akin. Okay.
It's akin. Yeah,
Akin.
yeah, yeah.
Again, I read it as I
How you?
read it. I said it as I read it. So again.
Akin.
Yes. Okay. Perfect. So
All in all.
all in all, guys.
I thought you were gonna keep talking.
All in all, I think balance. I think you've reached a very good balance.
I think I have.
I like planning. I'm okay when things don't come out the way I planned them, but at least we have options. We have researched, and we're good to go.
Right.
So I'm going to work on that. I think I do need a little bit more structure in my day to day, even for work. I do think I need a little bit more organization. So, question me a year from now, guys.
Yeah. Yeah. She'll get there. She's already more structured than I think she's letting out to be. I honestly think that when we first started working together, Lula was like a speck floating in the air,
Yes.
just kind of like all over the place. And because the job is so like you're your own boss type, you have to be the one to manage your time.
Yes.
And I think now that you've worked alone and even with coworkers, I think that you have had to force yourself to be organized. And I don't think you're as non-structured.
Yeah.
So
Unorganized. Yes.
unorganized. Yeah.
So,
Akin.
yes. Akin. Not akin. Akin.
We hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Do you agree? Do you agree with her? Do you agree with us? Do you disagree altogether? Let us know in the comments and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.